Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. Very quick for those of you who will be watching the recording only. All these videos for this week will be free on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Please help me share it. I will post them as soon as we send out. It's recorded. It will have to be converted in the system, and then we will post them out on YouTube. I'll let you guys know in the group when it's posted. Please go watch it. I know you've seen it already, but if you can watch it in YouTube or even just share it, like it, leave a comment, that will help. Right? Share it to anybody you know who might want to look at wave analysis. We will be doing a course in about 2 weeks. So this is like a preview for people to know what we do in the group. So they will have 1 week of free webinars, as well as I'll be doing a very short video today, maybe about 10 minutes, telling them what our group is about. What we do in the group, because I get these questions a lot. People ask me very often, like, what is your group, what you do? Can we have a view of your group? And we can't bring them in because of the way it's structured, you know that. But we can do a very short video and show them what we do in the group and what they will get if they join our group. So when I put that out, I hope you can also share that to as many people as possible. And if you've been following what we're doing in the trading room for the last 5 weeks, we will add that to the training sessions. So the training sessions will restructure into, I think it will still be 6 weeks, but what I'll do is I'll make it more compact than the theoretical part, which means instead of 1 hour, I'll do 2 hours a day in the training sessions. So we'll try to cover almost all the theory in 1 week, doubling the time instead of 2 weeks. And then we will have 1 week of practical session, which is we're going to double the time for the practical session as well. We're going to have 1 week of question and answer, which is about an hour, 2 hour question and answer every day. And then we're going to have 3 weeks of practical trading, like we're doing in the trading room. So that will get traders who are new to immediately get into the trading itself. They would join the trading room. They would see how we do it. It would be 3 sessions a day or 4 or 5, 6 sessions a day like we do now. So they will get directly into those sessions. They will be able to see how it's implemented. Because what I find is a lot of traders, even very senior traders who are here for a year, they're making money, they understand the concept. But when it comes to managing trades and clear implementations of the strategy, it tends to lag. And that's what we are clearing up in the trading room right now. So far, it's been amazing. So the traders who are struggling are really seeing a difference in their trading. Those who are already successful just gets better. So that's the process we'll do. Maybe it will be 2 weeks of practice session and then 2 weeks of this. So it's going to be around 6 weeks there. But I mean, if you're here for life, that doesn't matter, right? All of that is irrelevant because you keep getting learning process all the time. So let's go. With that, we'll start. I'm on silver as usual. And you can see, I put these lines here so you can see something, right? Of course, we can put another series of lines on this one so that you can see. We're just making single moves and we're not breaking the tops and bottoms of any one of them, except for this one, right? We broke the top. So we know this is one piece of itself as well. But after that, whether this is all a correction or not, we're not dropping, right? We're not dropping like this, drop for an impulse. So 2 things you start considering when it's not dropping is that we're probably still in some kind of a consolidation, making a pattern that we don't know what it is as yet, or we're dropping very slowly. And if you drop very slowly, that's an indication that by the time you break the low, you'll have a lot of divergence. If they start to do like this, we'll get a lot of divergence and we'll be going back up. We've seen this structure before. It's not like we haven't seen it. It's possible that they're going to go down really, really, really slow, take a very long time, maybe a couple months, and then we get another impulse up, right? Which becomes like a daily correction. Or we make a more complex B-wave structure here as well. You really don't know which of this pattern is going to come up, but that doesn't stop us from trading it on a daily basis, right? Because what we trade is the next possible move. So when you go to the 1 hour, we traded it last week and we'll trade it this week again, right? Remember, we traded breakout. And I think we might be making a running flat here. I think we may be making a run, or we're just making patterns like this, probably come back here. And at this point, because this one is pretty much sharper than this, there is a high probability that we make a new one up, which means we're stuck in the same spot. And because this might become the impulse, if this is a flat, we could be going down. And if you got a big flat like this here with a much smaller one in this, you could still go back up. So this is how it could go this week, that is one of the possibilities how it can go. It can just be going up and down for the entire week. Can we trade each part of that? If we get a setup for each one, of course we can take the trade. So what would be the setup for a sell today? Nothing. You have to put the entry order under the low. And the problem with that, again, like I said, if this is a running flat, we're going to be trapped, dropping here, and then watch it go back up. Can we buy it if that's the case? If this is a running flat here, can we buy this to the upside here? Absolutely. We wait for an impulse, we'll wait for a flag, and then we'll take the trade. So what would be the sell setup? If it's going to go much lower, wait for it to drop, make a flag, and then we sell. We don't have a flag anywhere. What if it makes a flag right here? Instead of going down, they make a flag right here. We'll buy it to break the top. If we get a flag here, we're going to go break the top. So we just have to wait to see which one of those patterns are going to develop and whether we have a setting or we have a setup based on this strategy we're going to use to trade it. So right now, we just have to wait. Gold, pretty much the same thing. We expect this to go up slightly, but this is all a correction if you look at it, right? This is pretty much all a correction. So I still think if we don't break this top, or even if we break the top, it wouldn't matter. You can see this is the sharp move down, and this is kind of doing this. So even if you go break the top, I still think there's a chance we're coming here. This would be a very good trade to the downside. Right, gold would be much better trade than the silver. And the gold, again, we're trapped in this sideways move. We have no idea what they're doing right now. And if you're new to the channel or your first time watching my videos, when I said we have no idea, it doesn't mean we zero knowledge of what's going on. We just don't know exactly which of the possible patterns will develop because there are 4 possibilities in here. We know that for sure of the 4 possibilities. We actually know how each one of them would look like as it develops. Right now, it's at a stage where it has to make one of those 4 patterns because you've got a number of waves in here already. Not necessarily this will be a triangular pattern. So if you're, a newbie to this whole thing and you say, hey, why didn't he see a triangle? We saw that. Don't get too immature with this. We saw that. We're talking about something much bigger than that. We're talking about what are the ending possibilities of the pattern. And there are 4 of them, which means we don't know which one of those 4s are going to happen. When I talk to my traders, I talk at the language that I think they understand, which means don't come tell me, hey, he didn't see the triangle in there, right? Please, this will be on YouTube. Don't write that. Remember, you're dealing with people here who are professionals, right? So I'm talking to pros who know what I said when we don't know what this is going to be as yet. There are 4 possibilities. Right now, when they drop here today, if and when they drop there, they might not even drop there, but if and when they drop there, we will know that possibilities. If they come stop here and go back up, we will look for a different possibility. If it drops through the bottom totally, that will be another possibility. And there is still one more that I'm not telling you now because it's still too early for that one. So we would look for a short-term sell setup. We'll manage the trade as we normally do, and we'll see whether we can get it to either come back to this level or break through. For the upside, it will be a break-even trade, which means if we get the sell and it drops to this level to go back up, making this a flat, this will become a break-even trade, and we'll look for the buy setup. Which of those 4 possibilities? No idea right now. Let's just wait, take it one piece at a time. And we'll be looking for a sell setup today on this. Dollar index. Okay, this one is playing good to us so far. We've got the impulse down, we've got the 1, 2, 3 up, and we've got the next impulse down. Perfect. All we wanted to do is we wanted to tag this low and then start to go back up. Now, it may or may not tag the low. Whether it's going to be a regular flat or a contracting flat, I have no idea. And we are not supposed to know that because that's impossible. You can't know whether it's going to make a regular or contracting flat. You just wait to see which one it is. Wait for the setup for a buy. We're not looking for a sell. We're looking for a buy setup, right? This thing has been being very kind to us. It's doing exactly what we wanted it to do. We wanted this to go up. We wanted to come very close to this top. We wanted to come back, tag the low, and go up. That would be more of a regular flat pattern, flat patterns that we know. So at the bottom here, you're getting some consolidation. That is okay. We want this consolidation to break. We did break this low, but I still want them to break this low. That will add to the confidence on the buy. That's all it will do. Whether it's a contracting flat or a regular flat, doesn't matter. We're still looking for the buy. But if it breaks the low and then go back up, that will add to our confidence when we get the flag to buy it and hold it. Because you know if they don't, that this pattern could change if we don't break the low. So basically, if they only drop a little more, break the low, then turn, give us an impulse, give us a flag, we'll all be in that trade to the upside. So you don't want to jump into the trade too early. You want to wait for the impulse, you want to wait for the flag, and then we will go into the buy. Which means euro, will give you the opposite, right? Remember last week we were here and I was like, I think they might break the top. They might break this top because it looks like they should do that. And that will give us a perfect flat. So let's see if it goes break the top. We're going to wait for the sell setup. Can it go above this top? We know that. It's going to be an expanding flat. I'm not expecting an expanding flat. I also don't think this is all the correction. I don't think this is the end of the structure. Let me just show you that that possibility. Could this be the end of a 1, 2, 3 wave structure that we're totally going up? There's a very slight possibility for that. All right, very small possibility for that. But if that is going to happen, then you can't buy it to the top here. That's a problem. You can't buy it because the greater possibility is that they're going to come here and drop. We would look for a sell setup. What if they just spike through the top? This could still be an expanding flat. So that is not the reason to buy it. You don't know. You're making a wild guess that it could be an expanding flat or it could be going to. But if they break through the top and consolidate, well, yes, we are all going to be buying, and we will come back and look at this as all the correction to the downside. So keep your eyes open for those possible, which means today we're not going to get a trade unless they make an impulse and a flag, and that will take us about 6-7 hours before we get a sell setup. Pang, we can look for a buy setup. I think there is one more move up. We had the entry order here last week. It dropped a little lower, no problem. If we get a flag here, we will buy. We'll assume that we're going to break this top. And when they come and break these tops, we'll see what happens from there. Are we going to drop, or are we going to continue to go up? Right? So we're looking for a buy setup. Let's see if we get it. If we get a flag here, this would be a good buy setup. I think they're consolidating. We'll check this to see whether it becomes a small running flat, and we know how to trade that, which means whether this piece will come down a little more like this and then take off, we'll get that trade. That's what we're waiting for, something like this, right? And then we get that trade up. I think all of you remember that, so we're looking for a similar thing here. If we get it, that would be a nice trade. Aussie needs to break that up. They all need to go a little more up. We really, really want Aussie to go just a little more up, break this top, and then start the down move. This would be the big flat in the middle. So can we take a buy setup here? The risk to reward is not amazing. I think you can see that, right? Let's see if we find one pair with a better risk to reward for the trade, and then we will take it. If not, then we can come back and look at the Aussie. The Pong is not a bad one. That will give us good risk to reward if we get a flag. Euro is out of it. There was no good risk to reward in the buy setup, only in the sell. And let's see if we get this. We'll definitely be looking for the sell as well to the downside. So this is not such a good break. Can this be a regular flat? As a matter of fact, we broke this top, right? So can this be a regular flat like this and we start to fall? If that is going to happen, we'll sell here. If we see this coming down back, we'll consider the sell. Because I'm expecting them to break this top, but they don't have to break that top. I think all of you know that, right? So we'll see if they break the top. Because Pound looks a little more upside, Euro looks a little more upside, they might go break the top. New Zealand, we broke the top. We sold it on Friday. I think when it starts to, we saw the breakout of this. When it starts to go back, traders were a little thing, and that is where the trading room comes in perfect. I said, don't worry about that. When it pulls back, either take break even or leave it on its own, right? If you didn't jump out too early for break even, you probably would have got a little profit out of it. Now I think we're making a running flat. So far, it looks like a running flat. If that is a running flat, we want this trade to the downside, right? That is if it is a running flat. So this morning, I asked the question in the trading in the room. We took a trade like this about a week ago. And I asked them which pair. If you were in this morning, don't answer that question. But if you weren't in this morning, please type the pair we took this trade. The trade played out amazing. So if you remember it, type it. I will see if you're correct. Let me see how many of you have good memories. We took a flat like that, a running flat like that, that worked out perfect, right? So let's see how many of you remember that. If you were in this morning, don't type it because you know it already. Yen. It's coming down again. The question whether we could have sold these or sell this or sell this. Again, this morning we were in the room. There was no sell setup. And even if you try to sell it, we assume they're going to break the low. If you try to sell it, we understand that we will get a break-even trade. We actually worked through it in 15 minutes and said, well, where would you enter this trade if you're looking for a sell? You'd have to enter under the low here. Where would your target be? Breaking the low. You know this, as soon as they break the low in the channel, they're turning. you will move to break even. The likelihood they'll take you out for break even. So the sell setup, although it looks very nice, it's not a very big one, and based on your strategy, where you're going to enter, where you're going to exit, might not give you a very good trade, right? Unless it drops to the low here and then you exit the trade immediately. Who says we don't turn from this point? See? Who said we can't turn from that point? We just broke the low. I didn't know that. If we get a buy setup, we'll take it again like we did last week. Again, this was an X trade last week. We were in on Friday. We took the buy in the break of this here. I think was this level we took the buy. It went up, it came down back, and I told you leave your stop here because it's going to go back up. And the reason we left the stop there for the up move was because we saw that previously this pullback low. We saw that previously this pullback low. This pullback low. None of them broke the low. So this pullback was pretty normal. They're going to pull back and then they're going to go to the top. That would be a corrective structure for a sell. Your sell would be under this low. It's not a good trade. No, it's not a good trade. You just don't get very big risk to reward in trades like that, right? Okay, some of you got it. Wonderful. The pound, the dollar CAD. Perfect. I'm glad you guys remembered, because this morning nobody did. So the dollar CAD, we took exactly that trade, and the same question came up. Why would it go? I said, I don't know. And then it took off like a rocket, right? It was to the upside. So I'll show you as we come to the CAD. So we're looking for a buy setup on the yen, even if they break the low first. So we explained this, we did this in details last week. Even if, I don't think we have broken this low as yet, but even if we break that low, we're looking for a buy setup, not the sell setup. What if it goes much lower? Well, it will have to first break this structure. It will have to break out of the channel first. When you have a channel and you're getting divergence like this, you don't want to be a seller, you want to be a buyer. Unless and until it breaks the channel, consolidate, and then we sell, because then we will consider that structure not just to be a channel, but to be a running flat. This one is more structured to be a channel. They're rarely differentiated from each other. They're pretty much the same, but this one looks a little more like a channel than a running flat. I think you can see, because the corrections and impulses are very distinct in this one. So I'm more inclined for the upside. We would be looking for a buy setup. Swiss, we wanted this to go down. I was in the sell and I came out for, I think, just about a few pips, which is more or less for me break even. So we came out because we thought it was consolidating here. It will drop one more. I put mine to break even, go back, take me out for about break even, couple of pips. Same thing here. We want this to drop and break the low, because that would make sense, right? That would complete the pattern and then start to the upside. If they stay here and they go back from this point, all we will have is a bigger consolidation. So we're not really looking for the buy here, although there might be a buy setup, because it's just going to be a bigger consolidation. So far, this thing has been going the way we expect it to go. Let's see if it continues to do that, right? It looks a little upside, but I'll be very, very careful of any buy. Let's see if we get a sell setup to break the low. Even if we don't get a sell setup, let it break the low first, turn, and then we get an amazing trade to the upside. We've had a few amazing trades on this already, right? And the CAD dollar. Here is the trade I was telling you about. We had this move. It made 1-2. I was in the webinar when it was at the top there. I said we wanted to drop. Then we will put the entry order. We'll put the stop and we'll target the top. And we all got that trade, those of us who took it. So we're getting exactly the same possible setup on the New Zealand. You repeat the process, regardless of the outcome. I've mentioned this many times in the trading room, and we'll continue to do that, right? So what we expect this to do, I don't know. Maybe we'll break the low again. I think we want them to break the low. This could actually be enough of a flat. It could stop right there. That could be considered a flat. 1, 2, 3 for upside. So if we get a buy setup here, we can do that. It will be a contracting flat. But better for us is if they drop here first, then go up. As you see last week, we were forecasting this move to drop here and then go. I didn't think they were going to make such a deep pullback, but if they drop today, if we get this piece to drop here today, then we'll definitely be looking for the buy setup, right? So the question, is it a contracting flat, or are we going to get this one? Are we going to get a regular flat? In any case, we know what to do, because if this is a contracting flat, you can literally buy here now, right? I think all of you see that, because if this is a contracting flat, this is making a flat here now for the upside, right? And that means we will buy. So if we see them trying to go back up, we look for a buy setup. But if they make a flag here to fall, you might even get a good trade if this makes a flag here, right? If we get a flag here for this trade, This would be actually a good sell with a stop here and an entry here. You'll probably get a 2-to-1 trade to the bottom. So we will watch for both possible scenarios and see. That will be in the next 3-4 hours. And then we'll see if we get a trade. So I will see all of you in the trading room for that, and we'll take the trade. Aussie yen. Okay, we're still consolidating. We thought this one would go up and make a running flat, and they drop one lower. Like I said, if they drop one lower, no problem. We're still expecting a running flat. That has not changed, right? Expecting a running flat here is the same thing, right? Because this is still the correction in that impulse. Are we going to get it today? Might be. I can see we didn't break this low. So if this comes back here and decide to go, that is a buy setup. If we get that, we'll buy. Right? You can see that setup. If we get it, we'll absolutely buy. Aussie, Swiss, stay out of it. I think you have a good reason to stay out of this. It's going to eventually break to the downside, I think, because it's kind of a big consolidation. But probably stay out of it for now. Aussie CAD. Okay, so we are still in the consolidation. It's just a bigger one. You can see that. Pretty much what they're doing here. Looks downside, but not the best trade to the downside. Right? This is if we take this as the impulse down, then all of this is a consolidation. You can look for that trade. What if they break the top? Well, we'll just look for a running flat, come back here and then go up, right? So could this be a contracting flat at this point for upside? I don't think so. This looks like a correction down, so I don't think we have a contracting flat in play. I think we're going to most likely make a running flat or a regular flat, which means they either come down from here or they go break the top and then come down. We can look for a sell setup. If we get a sell setup, we'll take it. Aussie, New Zealand. Okay, could this be the start of the upside? This could be. We don't. It's too early to tell because there might be a small flag here. Not a very good one. I'm in the 1 hour. It might not be the best one. It's looking kind of pull back, pull back, pull back. So here's what we're going to do. If this gives us a flag, we'll buy. If we get a very clear flag for upside, we will buy. But if instead of that we drop here, then this becomes one more downside before they go up. We were looking for the upside for that matter of fact. I think all of you remember that this pattern here, we had this pattern, we sold that. This is another running flat we sold last week. Didn't go out very well. I think it just dropped to this level and go back up, so not a big trade. But this we were expecting to go up. So if we get a flag here that is very nice, give us a nice 1 hour flag, we'll take the trade to the upside because we know where we want it to go. But if instead of that, this becomes a flat, something that they come back like this, and then they go like that, then we will look for the sell setup. One more impulse down. Just one more impulse down. Take your profit. If they're going to go up, we'll try to put it at break even and keep the trade. Right? Both sides are possible. The upside is the big impulse. The downside is just finishing this move. So the downside is a very small trade. The upside is a very big trade. When they finish the small trade, they can start the big trade. Whether or not you're going to get the small one, they don't need to make one more down because we broke the low already. But if it does make one more down, that's okay. We know what to do. EURUSD. It's going sideways. I think we stay out of this thing for now. See that? If you bought that, you got break even. If you try to buy this, you might get break even. Try to buy this. Can we sell it? I don't think we have a sell setup. It has to break and make a flag for us to have a sell setup, right? This has to break, make a flag here, and then we can sell the flag to the downside. Euro New Zealand. Yep, also nothing here, right? So we broke we broke the low, and the question is what now? Now that we've broken the low, how do we look at this structure? And there are a number of ways to look at this structure. Either we're trying to go back to the top here to make a more bigger corrective structure, or I think we'll just continue to go down like this. I do believe we'll just continue to go down some more. Do we have a sell setup here? Well, this morning we looked at that pattern. You notice I have some drawing in there because we looked at it this morning in the Asian session trading room, and I was showing them all the possible patterns in here. That means this has to break this top. We're going to likely go break this top. And the question is, can we buy it? Because that's immediately the question if we're going to break the top. And the problem with, if I think this is going to go up more, we'll have to let this break out, make a flag, and then go. Why not buy this flag? Because this flag, in this pattern, this flag could just break that top and then drop. And this would be a perfect sell setup. I mean, a perfect sell setup. We know how to trade those patterns, right? So we cannot buy this here. But what if it is going to continue to go? This is a big flat at the bottom. This is the first impulse up, by the way. This one is the first impulse up. This is a big flat, and we're going to continue to go up much more. You may say, well, why don't we take the risk of this for a break even? You wouldn't get a break even. You will not get it. It's very short. You wouldn't get a break even. Let them break out, prove they're going to go up, make another 1 hour flag, and then we'll take the trade. Then we will trade it to the upside, because the risk of this taking the trade now is very, very big. For you to just get tapped just at the top here, just do this and then drop. We will sell it from here. Go there, make flags, we will buy it. So because of this down move possibility, we cannot buy it now. We'll wait. Patience will give you the good trade. Eurocad. Okay, so we might be breaking out of this. Let me put an entry order at the top here. Let me put a line at the top. No, we haven't broken that top as yet. We could be breaking out still though, but it's going very slow. It's not as aggressive as we'd want to trade it, right? We're waiting to see whether this becomes a consolidation here for upside, or whether this becomes a smaller for this one to retest the low. Right now, both sides are possible, because if you put it like this, we remember the correct one is like this, but this wasn't going up aggressively. It's going up very slowly. Do we have a buy setup there? I don't know. I don't think it's a good buy setup. We'll see. We'll wait to see whether this flag breaks to the upside, and then we'll consider the trade. It's really slow. You see, they made a move up, correction, 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 a bigger correction, and they're making corrections again. So it's not going up as aggressive as we would like it. So I think we just wait some more. If we wait some more, we'll probably see what it's doing. Euro yen. We came down. I think we're going to get a little more. We're expecting this to make at least one more. Go back up there and then give us this trade. And then we start to look for the upside, because we're looking for this. And it's happening now. So that will give us a big, long, drawn-out running flat. And just in case you're watching again this video for the first time, because this is going to be on YouTube, we're looking for that move to come down before we buy. I think we might get some downside here. I don't think it's over. I think we'll probably see some consolidation here, one drop, and then we'll look to buy. If this is all the move down, we don't have a buy setup as yet. We'll probably get a buy setup, but we don't have one as yet. Euro Swiss. Yep, another running flat, right? See? So we were here last week, and the question was, should we buy it from there to go make the top on the running flat? And we didn't have, we should, but we don't have a setup to buy it. And if you bought it, you got break even. I think simply by looking at this, you would say to yourself, yeah, but if I bought that, I got break even out of it, right? See, there wasn't much of a flag. You bought this, you got break even. You bought this, you're going to get break even. So there's about one more move up, and then we were expecting this to go down, right? This one is working perfect. It's doing exactly what we want it to do. You've got a sharp move. You've got a 1, 2, 3. You get another sharp move. Look for sell setups. This would be amazing trade to the downside. So we would look for the sell setup from somewhere in that area. It will start to go down. Euro pound. Okay, if you bought this, take out for break even. All right, if you bought this one, we broke the top. So now that we broke the top, the question is, are we still going up, or could this be now a bigger flat for downside? Is it going to make a bigger flat for downside? We have one down. All right, let's assume this is finished here. Let's make an assumption it's finished there. Then this one will go up. But what if it didn't finish there? What if this is just an impulse? We're making a correction, and we're making, we're going to drop now for more downside. Just what if? I don't think that is what it's doing, because then we'll have to go back into all of these. This impulse is the last one to the upside. You've got an up impulse here. You had a flat. That was a buy setup. You got break even. Let's see what happened. They're making a flag here. I don't think we want to sell that because it might not be big move downside as yet. I think we're going to still be in the consolidation. We'll look for a buy here. So let me pull this trend line. Assuming that they're starting an up move, we'll assume that they're making an up move, right, to break the top. We'll watch this piece to see whether it's dropping here and then go back up. That will become a buy, right, if we get that. What if they drop through this structure? Well, then if they drop through, you'll have to give us a flag here now for a sell. So most likely, I think it's going to continue to go up. And in any case, we'll just leave it alone until we get a good setup. Pang Yen? Okay, just what happens to my Pang Yen chart. Let me go back to the Euro-Pong. Euro-Pong is there. What happened to Pong Yen? Oh, it came up now. Great. So Pong Yen, we want one more low, and then we're going to buy it. So we want this thing to retest the low here one more time, and then we'll look for a buy, because this might, I think somebody in the trading room asked whether we could look at this as a running flat. Right? That was Friday, and I said, yeah, possibly. Looks good. This, of course, is a very big, and it's a little lower than that. We would like to have it in here. But if this one is sharp and that one is sharp and they come back slowly down to the bottom like this, yeah, that could be a running flat for upside. We wanted to make one more low, and then here is another one that we were looking for a sharp wave, and we eventually got it. That is this one, right? Remember, we were looking for this. While it was going up, we were buying. When it came to the top, we started to look for sell setups because we expect them to make one of that. Well, they made it. So now we're looking for the buy setup. Let them finish the low. If this is going to make a new low, perfect. No big deal. Make a new low, and then we will look for the upside. This would be an amazing trade. So we had an entry order last week. We took it off, right? We took it off this morning in the trading room because the entry order was that if this was going to be a small running flat, they will go up. It came deep. It's making a flag. That means you take off your entry order, let it break the low, and we repeat the process. We want an impulse, we want a flag, and we'll buy it again. I'm not very keen about the sell anymore. I just want to buy. Pangos? Probably going to go up. We know this, right? This is probably going to make a new high. It's going to probably make a new high, but it doesn't look very aggressive. It doesn't look like a high that is going to take off. The Pong has a very similar structure. So we'll have to consider which one of them we take, right? We'll either take one of the Pong trades, either the Pong Aus, the Pong Dollar, or any of the other Pong trades. And the best one is the one we'll go for. We might still be in some form of a bigger flat here. I don't really like the way it's going, so we'll keep an eye on it. Punkad, very similar structure. You can see that, right? We broke out of this slightly, but then we made a sharp move here, and we're consolidating in this piece. Just like the Pound Dollar. Looks upside? Yes, there's potential for upside. But the one with the biggest potential for upside that is more sure to go is the Pound Swiss. And again, we have the same structure. A drop, a big move, take this up, and a flat forming here. I think we will take one of them to the upside if we get it. We'll have to just decide which one. I think the Pound Swiss for me seems to be like the best one. See that? If you take this out, because this is finished, right? Let's take this out. That up move is finished. That is clear. I think you can put it like this. And let's look at this. This up move here is finished. We had a flat here. We traded that flat. We had another flat here. We traded that flat. We had another one here. We traded that. That's a break even, right? So, but this move is finished. You've got a sharp move down and a sharp move up. I think we know when you get a sharp move down and a sharp move up, that doesn't mean anything. And now you're kind of consolidating in here. So you will probably need one more sharp move up. You will need one more sharp move down. And then we will go. So I think all the pound pairs might make exactly this pattern, which is why on the Pound Dollar, we will only take the trade if we get the flag at a lower point, because by the time it breaks the top for that running flat, we will get it to break even and probably even into profit, right? That's the whole point. So you can see this. This is amazing. Let's see if we get this trade, but we know what it could do. We're looking for 1, 2. So, and if this is the B part of it, then you're going to get 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to get 1, 2, 3, and then the upside. So Pound New Zealand, this is the only one that doesn't have that pattern. See? This one does not have the pattern that the others have. And we expect this to go down some more, at least a little more here. You'll have to be very careful at this point what happens here. From this point, they will either go back up or they'll go down. We were expecting this to break last week. It went up some more and break, so we just have to move these two lines like that. And the same pattern remains. That has not changed. We're the daily structure, at the bottom of a daily structure. See that? And now they have to tell us, here is a flat, we went up. Here is a flat, we went up. Here is a bigger flat, we went up. A smaller flat, we went up. Is this a big flat for upside? Or are we trying to go down? And that is the point where we will learn, because we have seen a big running flat like that that was for downside. See, remember this one? Big running flat that actually dropped. If this is going to drop, we don't have a sell setup at the present moment. We had a sell setup, but it's not going. We have divergence in play on the 1 hour. So I think we would let this break through the structure. We would wait for a 4-hour consolidation, and then we will start to sell. because that would confirm the bigger move. That will confirm a daily down move. A 4 hour or 1 hour very big move. This was a very big one to sell, but then it's not going. We are expecting it to go, right? New Zealand yen, we have an entry order on this as well. This is right now either a contracting flat or a possible running flat in the making. So we've got the impulse, we've got that, and we're getting this. So if this goes back up here and then start to drop, it changes the dynamic of the trade, right? It changes the strategy. We'll move the entry here, we'll put the stop here, and we'll look for a trade. So right now, because it's possible an expanding or running flat in the making, we can only put the top here, the stop there, and hope that this drops, because it could still go back up. This is the trade setup we're looking for. By the way, if you're watching my videos for the first time, or even if you're on YouTube, these are not trade calls for people. We don't make trade calls for traders out there. This is my view of how I would trade this for my traders. Now, if you understand that and you want to do whatever you want with it, that's okay. But we're not making trade calls. This is not a signal service. I'm giving you my views of how I would trade these structures. Right? Now, if you don't have a clue of what this structure is and what it's doing and why the hell I'm looking for the downside, just go watch some more of my videos, and then you can decide if you want to join our group and, you know, learn this stuff, because it works. That's all I can say. It works, right? And we knew that was going to go up, break the top, and then we were expecting it to come break this low, and it's very likely going to do that. I can show you the past that they did that already. That is how we know, because we studied the past, right? We studied the past, we see these patterns, and we know how they behave. So we're doing exactly the same thing here. We've seen these patterns in the past. Here is a good one. This look a similar one like that. We had one here. You make a move down, you make a flat in the middle, and then you drop, right? You make a move up, you make a flat in the middle, and then you drop. Then you go up, sorry, right? So you can see them. Now, every now and then they behave differently. So if you don't know the criteria and you don't have a strategy how to trade these patterns, better to watch the video and learn. New Zealand Swiss, this looks upside. This one actually looks upside in this big structure. It looks like they're about to break out of that structure for the upside. Right, we were anticipating that this would break out. It might be breaking out. It's going up a little slow there, right? It's looking a little slow. So immediately there's a question, and I think that question will come from anybody. Why are you thinking New Zealand yen will go up and New Zealand yen will go down some, and New Zealand Swiss is going to go up some? Now that's why, because we're looking at patterns and we're looking at each pair individually to see what they're going to do. Sometimes this would still come back to the low here, but the bigger picture is upside, which means we're looking for the upside structure, not the downside. Maybe the New Zealand yen will go down a little and then start to go back up, which means we'll be looking for the downside still. That doesn't change, not the upside. So each pattern we look at individually at what they're going to do. We're getting a flag here for a buy. The question is whether we want to buy it right to the top here. We might consider that buy, because if it breaks out, this would be all your correction. That would be the slow move up and it will take off. We had that slow move up here already. Remember that? So we have a buy setup, and we might consider this buy setup. It doesn't have to be a yen move. It could be most of it. It doesn't have to be a New Zealand move. It could be a Swiss move that moves this to the upside. New Zealand CAD, we have an upside too. See, there's already a flag making there, and we have a big daily running flat in here. So what we can expect is minimum, they might just break this top and then either come back here or continue to go, right? So we'll see whether this is an up move with that flat in the middle, or is a big flat for a down move. All right, we're in a daily structure. I think all of you remember that. We're in this daily structure, and they could come back down. They could break the top and come back down, but there is a move to break the top. There's a trade, a short trade to break the top. So we will take that trade. Here's a setup. We'll get the setup. We can take that trade to break this top, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Right? Swiss yen, sorry, CAD Swiss. Did I say Swiss yen, CAD Swiss? The Swiss yen is just under that. So sorry for that. CAD Swiss is going sideways. It's not going anywhere. Sideways means it's going to go down. So you just have to wait for that correction to finish and look for the sell setup. Swiss yen going down nicely. The problem is how far it's going to go now. We'll have to wait, look for sell setup. So we're getting a sell setup. We'll take the trade. We're getting a sell setup here. We just want this to go back up a little. Kind of like do that and give you a little flat here, and then that would be a good trade. If that's a running flat, it would be an amazing trade. Right? If it makes a small running flat there, that would be a perfect setup for a sell. Mexican, you might be finally getting your turn, but don't chase it until you get the flag. Remember, this one didn't give you the flag. This one started to make a flag but dropped. This one dropped without any flag. So if you're going to look for your trade to the upside, which is likely going to happen, make sure that this flag breaks to the upside, and that becomes a very good trade. See, that might finally be the one that goes. I don't know that. You don't know that. We'll see. If you get the flag, you'll take the trade. And what is the South African? Nothing yet. This is still too early. This could be a running flat. I could literally see the possibility of a running flat, a smaller running flat here for downside. We still have this one. That one is part of a bigger running flat forming. No, that one is part of the correction. That is part of this up move. Right, this is part of the up move there. So I think this could be a running flat. We could probably drop here and then go back up. If they make a flag here, you can consider the buy. Right, we'll probably fit this with something else somewhere. CAD and the bigger structure, we definitely need this thing to go break that up, because if they don't break the top and it falls, then we are in trouble, because all you're going to get is a bigger corrective structure. Right? You're not going to get the impulse to the downside, but a bigger corrective structure. But if they break the top and then they fall, that will confirms the impulse to the downside, because we need to break the top there. So today we will see, today they'll tell us we are breaking out of the bigger structure. If we consolidate here, we'll be selling. And we look for a bigger corrective structure, right? If they go back up, break the top, we'll see if we get the buy. If we don't get the buy, we'll look for the sell setup. But if we get a buy setup here, we'll take it. So today we just have to wait to see what pattern. That will probably take us a while to see what pattern we get. US oil, that's a buy setup. If you got in the trade, you're doing well. As a matter of fact, some of you got it there, some of you got it from here on the 1 hour. And some of you got in there, some of you got in from the break of this. So either way, you're doing well. You're getting another flag. Look for buy setups. We'll probably go break those stops. See? We will come back with this running flat, the bigger running flat. We'll take this off. We'll make this one here. And I think the bigger running flat eventually is the one we're looking for. And if that is the case, you're looking for a very big impulse to the upside. You can see that already, right? At least break that up and maybe more up. The same would be for the UK oil, right? We will probably come back with this running flat. We're looking at both options at all time, right? And then we would look for this one with either this piece here or the bigger one, long drawn out one. The bigger one would be this, or the smaller version within this. Either would be possible, because there are numerous ways of looking at that running flat pattern in there, right? We spoke about that. And if this is actually the bigger running flat, which it turns out to be, each correction is a buy. You're getting a correction there. That's a buy setup, right? Let's see if we get a correction here. Then we can look for a buy setup. What are the chances they're going to go down? It's possible. It's possible that we're still getting that flat incorrect, that this is the start of a downside, but then they're not going to drop like that. You'll probably come down here, go back up there, and then drop. You'll get a bigger flat here, right? So the downside is not so much a trade now. The best trade is to the upside. See if you have a good flat pattern there. Look for a trade to the upside. Short term, this looks, yep, this looks like it's going to probably retest the low and then go up if that's the case. You look at this as a contracting flat in the middle. Natural gas, the sell was good if you took the sell there. If you took the sell anywhere in here, it was good, and you're getting another sell setup. You're going to get another sell setup here. We're going to break the low and then we'll turn. Once they break the low, remember this pattern, we didn't like it to the upside. We were absolutely correct about that. It's not very impulsive. And that means you're going to get this to break the low, and then we'll start to look for the upside. So there's a trade. There's a sell setup there again today. Last week there was one. S&P 500. Well, it's coming down. So it's finally doing what we wanted to do. And then we will come back with this being the bigger pattern. This is a 1, 2, 3. And then you get 1, 2, 3 back to the top. It's a much more complex pattern than we were looking at. And that shows you your downside, right? So this was 1, 2, 3 for a contracting flat in the middle. 1, 2, 3 for that. And we're coming down. That was a perfect sell. You might get another. Once it breaks this low, they can go back up, right? So you take every sell. We broke the low already. Okay, now you got to be careful if you're going to take a sell setup. Make sure it's a good setup. It could still go down, right? This could absolutely still go down. Well, be careful though, because now that they've broken the low, if they want to turn, this could be the turning point. Remember this one last week, we didn't expect that to turn because we didn't break the low. Now you break the low. So are we getting any turn setups? Nope, you're getting a sell setup, right? This doesn't look like a turn as yet. It looks like it could drop some more. And then we will see. So there might be a short-term sell setup in that. DAX didn't go anywhere. They actually came just here. And we're kind of consolidating here. I think they will still have, I don't think it's ready to drop us yet. It might be, but they're dropping too slow. If this was all the consolidation, this is going too slow. Wait for flags and sell. And be careful that they can still come back here, then drop. Right? Because this is going down slow. You can see that for yourself. But you can wait for flags and take each flag as it goes on. Manage them to break even. BA, you're getting a sell setup. I think this is pretty clear. GE, you might have just completed that big expanding flat, and we might be starting the downside, right? This is what we were expecting last week. This is not the good sell, but wait for it to give you a flag. Let it comes a little more down, they'll make flags. See, they drop a little, they make a flag. You can put an entry out if you want to take the sell aggressively. But because of the way they're at the top, they're looking like a flat, I'll wait for a good flag before I sell it. Wait for a nice 1 hour flag, and that will give you confirmation of the trade. This looks upside. See, this looks upside some more. This is downside. It's finally might be breaking this flag, so you can trade this flag rather than the whole pattern. Right? You can trade the break of this flag rather than the whole corrective structure. Nifty. This might still be the big expanding flat. Look for sell setups here. Wait for a flag, take the trade, and manage it. This one already broke. You have to wait for a flag if you're going to sell it. And this one, okay, this is still going sideways. If you took that trade down, you kind of get a break even. And now you're in this piece. Not much of a sell, not much of a buy. I think they might go break the top, but it's not going so aggressive. So you probably be careful, because even if they go break this top, we're going to expect this move down and then the upside. So I'll be careful of the buy right now. Bitcoin. Okay, it's coming down a little. Let's see what we have here. Pull this here. Wait for, we don't have, this might be a running flat for a buy. See this? You can actually look for a buy, one more impulse up to this level, and then they'll tell us if they break out. It's possible they're going to break out, right? We spoke about that this could be 1, 2, 3, and we break out of that. So if they're going to break out, that might be a nice running flat. See that there? We had one of that already here. See this running flat there? We had one of that, very similar. And we might be getting another one here. Look for buy setups. I don't think we should look for the sell setups as yet. Let this drop and make a flag before we look for sell. If you want to sell it with an entry under the low, that's an option as well. XRP. This one looks sideways. Even if this goes up, it's not total upside. It's just one more. You can see it, right? This looks sideways. So they can do this, and then do that. And then we'll probably get this. Right? It looks like, it doesn't look aggressive to the downside. They will have to break this low. We thought this would come and break the low, but it's coming down, but it's not breaking the low. So what I would say is, let's change it up slightly. I wouldn't be surprised if they do this within the same structure. See, within the same structure, go back up there, come back down, and then go up. But you can buy, you can actually put a buy here. The reason we want to put the buy is, what if this is some kind of a leading diagonal and this is the flat? So do we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? What if this is doing this? Let me just go through it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is your flat. This is going to take off like a rocket. So we should look for the buy setup. The corrective structure and the leading diagonal in this case would look very similar. We look for the buy to about this level, put it to positive, and then see they're going to come back down. The worst case is you're going to get a break even on that trade, right? This corrective structure in the leading diagonal will look absolutely similar. It's going upwards. So we'll look for the buy, put it to break even, and then see if they come back down. ETH, this looks very similar to. You're getting another corrective structure here, see? If you take it like this, one, two, three, four, five. This is a bigger correction. Look for the buy setup if they break out. If it breaks out, then we go with the buy. Put an entry order for it, they break out, right? Short term, it looks like a sell. Short term, this piece looks like it could come down. See, this is making a flat. So short term, it could probably come here and then come back, but look for a buy above the top. So if they break out, that's the buy. Right, the sell, we're not interested in the sellers yet. Once it's in that structure, we're not keen about the sell. This one came down, so this was a sell setup. Let's see what happens now. Let's put it like this and see what happens. Can we go back up? I think we can, right? Because we have a corrective move up, we have a corrective move down. We'll probably make a corrective move up. We'll drop one more, go back one more, and then drop and then go. So we're just going to be stuck here for a while. We need to break that up before we fall. So look for buy setups from here. If you get a buy setup from there, you'll probably get a nice trade to the upside. We don't have any buy setup now. So, okay, that's about it. All of these, we don't do them because then this will be an extremely long webinar. But there are some good setups in there. You guys can check them out. I would leave it like at this. I would post this on YouTube again. Once again, remind all of you, it will be on YouTube, it will be on Twitter, it will be on Facebook, it will be on LinkedIn, and please go and share it. You can share it in all those places. You can share it to more places that you want. You can give it the link direct to traders so they can go watch it on YouTube, right? So you must be following me at one of those places. So take it and share it. For the entire week, we'll have it. And today or tomorrow, I'll do that very short video about the group itself, just a small 15 minutes, 10 minutes video telling them about our group for those of them who would like to join us, because we'll have a course coming up in 2 weeks' time. We'll give them 2 weeks to join for the course, right? If anybody wants to join us, because I've had a lot of people asking me, when is the next course? When is the next course? So we'll do one in, it will be in late September, October probably, or very late September, early October. When is the Monday? We'll normally start on the Monday. So it will be 2 weeks from now. It will be the 5th of October starting. So they'll have 2 weeks to join if they're interested. They'll have 1 week of free webinar to make that decision. And I think most people have been following me for a while. Those who are new, they can either take on the installment program until they learn about what we do, and then they can join us. So, okay, guys, take care. See you in the trading room very soon. We have some news event today, right? So, that's late. That's 6 p.m. Don't worry. I'll still be in the trading room before then. So I'll see all of you in the trading room. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot. Bye.